Hi there, this is Mrs. Piper with the next step of creating our clay mask, and I'm going to go over this section, show you how to clean up and how to wrap this up, but I'm just going to show you how to start the decorating process. You are going to have the artistic freedom to do any kind of decoration that you want, but I'm going to show you the eyebrows and the nose. Remember, in your drawings, you probably have several different styles of noses, several different styles of eyebrows, and you might want to look at all of your sketches to kind of be influenced and to kind of be inspired for which one you want to use. And I think what I'm going to do is just go with a combination. I like the nose in this drawing, but I really like the eyebrows in this one, so I'm probably going to combine them. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of my leftover clay. This was the fresh clay that you just cut off of your mask. If it's close to the end of the period, you're going to wrap this up in plastic. You're going to put a little bit of slip onto it to keep it moist, and that way you can use it the next day. But since it's still fresh, I'm going to be using it today. I'm going to move my mask out of the way. And if you'll notice, for this stage, I have my mask, I have a plastic fork, and I have a bucket of slip. Slip is a clay and water mixture that is used as a glue to help adhere clay to clay. So I'm going to take my workstation and I'm going to take my extra clay and I'm going to roll it. This is going to be for my eyebrows. And you can roll it with both hands or with one hand. I'm holding it steady with one. But this coil of clay can be used to create the nose, it can be used to create the eyebrows, whatever you need. Now remember, we still have a plastic knife and we have our plastic fork. The plastic knife was used to cut out the shape of the mask itself. The fork will be used to adhere them to the mask. So let me go ahead and cut what I will use for the nose. I'm going to cut this piece right here, and I'm going to cut a couple of smaller spheres of clay. I'm going to make them into small little nostrils. And I'm going to tap it down. So, to make a nose, and you can do it whatever shape you feel inclined to make it. I'm going to make it a little bit longer. That one was a little bit too short. So this is going to become my nose. And I can tell that it's long and narrow, just like my drawing. Let me move my mask over into the area. So I want to size it. I like this area right here. So in my opinion, I think this is a good placement for the nose, but I don't like the squared off end. So I'm going to take this piece of clay and I'm going to make it a ball. I'm going to roll it in between the palms of my hands until it is round in shape. And that is going to go onto the end of the nose. That's going to be the little jut of the nose that sticks out. But then the two nostrils are going to be on the side. The nostrils, I'm going to use a smaller piece of clay. And again, I'm going to roll it into a small ball. That's too large. I'm going to cut it a little bit shorter. And I'm going to cut this one a little bit. I'm going to make two small spherical balls out of the clay to make the nostrils. Very good. Now, this is a very crude representation, but I will explain how you're going to do this, okay? If you want to make your nose have kind of a bulbous end with the nostrils, like a real human nose would have, then you're going to need to attach different shapes together. Now, when I am attaching the end of my nose to the nasal shape, I need to score and slip it. To score the clay, you're going to take your fork and you're going to scratch into the surface, and you're going to scratch into the surface of the sphere where they're going to be connected. Do you see how that's kind of roughened up? I hope that's clear. Now, I'm going to take some of this slip and I'm going to put it on the clay. And the slip soaks into the little grooves so that when I stick it together, they will join and fuse. Okay, there we go. Now, I'm going to use the tip of the end of my knife to smooth it together, because I don't want people to be able to see where I joined the shapes together. I want that to be smoothed out. Okay? And then I'm going to attach the two nostrils to either side of the nose. And I'm going to trim off the edge or the top of the nose so that when it comes close to the forehead, it's not quite so thick. Okay? Now, I know this looks strange at the beginning. You have to be patient. Again, because I'm attaching the clay together, I'm going to score and slip the areas that are going to be joined, scoring, scratching with the fork, and slipping with the clay and water mixture. Then I'm going to smooth them together so that people do not see how they were joined. And then this is going to lead up to my eyebrows. Now, you'll notice that I have made the shape of the nose, but I have not attached the nose to the mask yet. That's because I want to make sure that it's the right size and the right shape before I attach it on. So let me finish the nose, smoothing it out. And then, once I've realized it's the right shape, I want to make sure that I'm putting it in the right place. So I'm going to score the back of the nose. And yes, it does look strange at the beginning, but when you put the eyebrows in and all of the other facial features, it doesn't look quite as odd, quite as strange. So I'm slipping the nose and where it is being attached to the mask itself. And I press firmly. And now I'm going to attach the eyebrows. So the eyebrows I'm going to make. And by the way, you have your fork. You also have your knife. If you want to go ahead while the nose is still moist and wet, you can go ahead and stick the fork up in and open up the nostrils. That makes it much more lifelike. It looks much more like a nose if it actually has holes in it. And if you want to go ahead and smooth the edges of the nose down, you can use your knife. You can use the handle. You can use your fingers to smooth them down and then moisten it to stick it all together. Remember, you want to keep the area as symmetrical as possible, as smooth as possible. If you want a curve to be in the edge of the nose, then you need to carve that curve into the edge of the nose. Okay? I hope that's clear. So now we have, at least on this side, we have a smoothed out nose. Now I'm going to smooth over here, but let's go ahead and do the eyebrows. The eyebrows, as you recall, I was going to make them out of the leftover clay. So I'm going to take my clay and I'm going to roll it into a coil. You can start by rolling it in the palms of your hand and then roll it on your workstation. And because we want our eyebrows to be symmetrical, we want them to be the same shape and the same size, I'm going to take my coil and I'm going to fold it in half, and then I'm going to cut it. This way, both eyebrows are the same size. Okay? Now, I'm going to mark on my mask where the eyebrows are going to be positioned. I'm going to attach them to the nose. And before I attach them to the mask, I'm going to score and slip all of this area and all of this area. I might trim this one. It looks a little bit too fat. So make them the shape you want, score and slip and attach. And that way, as you start to build up your mask and as you start to add the decorations onto it, you are going, or add the features onto it. You're not really doing the decorations yet. But as you do this, you're going to make sure that you're scoring and slipping every time you add something. Now, let's say that the bell is about to ring and I've got to put up my mask. The first thing you want to do is you want to save your leftover clay, put a little bit of slip on it to keep it moist, and then you're going to be getting a piece of plastic wrap. Plastic wrap will hold the moisture in, but remember there's newspaper underneath your mask. So right now the newspaper is absorbing some of the moisture. So you might want to take your slip or even just your fingers and sprinkle a little bit of slip or a little bit of water over the surface of your mask to keep it moist. Especially if you're going to be attaching decorations and designs to the outside edges, you want to make sure they don't dry out. Then you take your plastic and you place it directly on top of your mask, covering it tightly and smoothly. And this is going to be ready to be put away in your storage section. I'm going to take another piece of plastic wrap. I'm going to wrap up my leftover clay so that it stays moist, and I'm going to put it with my mask on my pokey. So now you are ready to put away your mask and pull it out the next class period so that you can continue adding the features and the decorations and the designs. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate your time and have a great day. Thanks.